Welcome back to One Guy, One Course, One Disc. We are here today in LaPlata, Maryland, checking out Turkey Hill Disc Golf Course. Looks like there's 2 tee pads and 2 baskets on each hole, so we'll be playing from the long tee pad going to the long basket. So I believe it's the blue tee pads to the B basket. So let's take a look at the course. Hole 1 is a 425-foot par 3. It's going to go downhill 5 feet. It's a pretty wide open hole until you get to this bunker of trees. It's about 280 feet off the tee pad. Then you want to go to the left of it to get to the long basket. If you go to the right, that'll take you to the short basket. But once you finish hole number 1, hole 2 is going to be to your left and then along the fence, and then it's across the parking lot. You'll probably need U-disc to find it. Hole 2 is a 347-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 3 feet. You do have a Mando left off to the right side, but it's pretty far right, so it shouldn't be an issue. Then you have about 200 feet of this tunnel type shot, which is about 25 feet wide. And then once you finish hole 2, hole 3 will be straight ahead of you on the other side of this road. Hole 3 is a 367-foot par 3 that's pretty wide open. The only obstacle you do have is this road does play as OB. And if you want to clear it on the first shot, you are going to have to throw 328 feet to ensure safety. But other than that, it should be a pretty easy par. But once you finish hole 3, hole 4 is going to be to your right and ahead of you. Hole 4 is a 550-foot par 4. It's going to be 222 feet to clear this pond area. And then it's going to be 363 feet to get to this small little bunker of trees that is in the center of the fairway. Ideally, you want to be off to the left side. It'll help open up the gaps into the basket. But from these trees, it's going to be another 187 feet to the basket. It's tucked away in the trees up here on the right. But once you finish hole number 4, hole 5 is going to be to your left. Hole 5 is a 391-foot par 3. It's going to be 221 feet to get to this bunker of trees that's in the center of the fairway. The left side is more open, as you can see, but there is a tree kind of in the middle that's somewhat blocking the path to the long basket. So you'll have less obstruction going this right gap. It just is tighter. But once you finish hole number 5, hole 6 is going to be to your right. Hole 6 is a 474-foot par 4 that's going to go straight for about 217 feet, and then it's going to turn to the right. You do have a few trees to contend with once you get to the turn. Then it's going to open up the rest of the way to the basket. But from this tree we're coming up to on the right, it's going to be another 257 feet to the basket. And then once you finish hole 6, hole 7 is going to be straight ahead of you. And then the tee pad is actually going to be on the asphalt. Hole 7 is a 295-foot par 3. It's going to go straight down this tunnel, and it turns a bit to the right, and then it's around a tree to get to the basket. It's going to be 219 feet to the red basket, which we're coming up here, and then another 76 feet to the long basket from there. This tunnel at its narrowest is 10 feet, so you are going to have to be very accurate if you want to try this route. The other option is to go up and over on the left side, which is how the hole was originally intended to play. But once you finish hole 7, hole 8 is going to be straight ahead of you. Hole 8 is a 642-foot par 4. It's going to be 242 feet to get to this first gap that we need to hit. If you can get past this on the first throw, you're going to want to start to go a little to the left just to help open up the next shot. And then from here, it's going to be 213 feet to this secondary gap that we need to hit. That's going to bring us into the green. And then from this second gap, you're looking at about 187 feet to the basket. But once you finish hole 8, hole 9 is going to be to your left. Hole 9 is a 406-foot par 3. You can go right or left around these trees. If you go to the left, you're going to need a really good left to right shot, but probably something lower that you can skip closer to the basket. If you go to the right, you're looking at more of a high spike hyzer type shot. It's going to be 171 feet to that turn that we just took, and another 235 feet to the basket, which is tucked away in these woods. If you do try the right line, there is an OB pond that's right before the basket, so there is a little more danger because if you don't clear the trees, you may be OB. But once you finish hole 9, hole 10 is going to be to your right. Hole 10 is a 301-foot par 3 that has 2 trees in the middle of the fairway. The first one is at 111 feet, which is going to be right here on our left. And then the second one is 108 feet after that, making this a very demanding shot. If you want to get close to the basket, you're going to need something that's going to go right to left and then finish back to the right. And in case missing this tree wasn't hard enough, there's a nice group of guardian trees right before the basket. But once you finish hole 10, hole 11 is going to be to your right. Hole 11 is a 188-foot par 3, but don't let the distance fool you. It's a tough, demanding shot. About 70 feet, and then you're going to have to take a hard turn to the right. And there's a bunch of trees in the way to really make this a very difficult shot because the lines aren't great. The hole is going to go down 24 feet in total. And if you can manage to get the birdie here, it's a great grab. But once you finish hole 11, hole 12 is going to be to your left. Hole 12 is a 208-foot par 3 that's going to go back uphill 24 feet. It's a pretty straight shot with a slight left finish. It's going to be 134 feet to get to the red basket, and then you'll find a long basket 74 feet after that. But once you finish hole 12, hole 13 is going to be to the right. Hole 13 is a 458-foot par 4 that's going to go downhill 27 feet. It's going to be 173 feet to this Bigfoot, which is on that small tree in the yellow sign. There are two fairways on this hole. There's a upper fairway, which is more for the red basket, and this lower fairway, which is more geared towards the yellow basket. So ideally on your first shot, you want to get down to this fairway, and then it's pretty much a straight but very narrow shot the rest of the way to the pin. But ideally at about 190 feet, you want to start your turn to the left to hopefully get onto this fairway. But once you finish hole 13, hole 14 will be up the steps. Hole 14 is a 375-foot par 4 that's going to go uphill 10 feet. It's going to be 133 feet to get out of the woods, and then it's pretty open, although you do have a line of trees on the right side, which starts at about 242 feet and go all the way to the basket. But once you finish hole 14, hole 15 is going to be to your right behind us. Hole 15 is a 335-foot par 3 that's going to go straight. And then once you get past this gap out in the field, it's going to turn to the left to get to the basket. It's going to be 181 feet to get to this gap, which is about 20 feet wide. And then it's going to be another 155 feet to the basket. Once you finish hole 15, hole 16 will be behind us. Hole 16 is a 332-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 15 feet. It's going to be 129 feet till we get into the woods, and then 190 feet from the tee pad to get to the point where you want to start to turn to the left. And then from there, it's just another 142 feet to the basket. But it's pretty wooded the whole way to the basket once you get into the woods, so it's more of a just how lucky can you get. But once you finish hole 16, hole 17 will be to your left out in the open. Hole 17 is a 579-foot par 4 that's going to be a straight shot for about 212 feet, and then you're going to start the slow turn to the right to get all the way to the basket. From this turn, you're looking at about 271 feet to the red basket, and then from the red to the yellow, it's another 96 feet. It is perched up on this little dam that creates the pond to your left, so you do need to be careful because shots can easily skip into the water, and then you do have woods on the right, which could make a short putt very difficult. But once you finish hole 17, hole 18 is going to be behind us, and then you're going to cross a bridge on the right. Hole 18 is a 399-foot par 3 that's pretty open. You do have some trees on the right you have to contend with if you do throw backhand, right hand, but it's going to be 255 feet to clear the water. Once you finish hole 18, the parking lot is straight ahead of you. Now that you've seen the course, let's take a look at today's disc. It is the Discraft Undertaker. It is a 9.5 -1.2. There is a little breeze, so it may not fly how it normally flies. Let's go see how it flies. Oh, that was awful. That was close. Oh, wow, look at that. Oh my word. I didn't think that was gonna make it. Oh, that's oh gosh, that was awful. Gosh, put it in the air. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Throw the disc in the air. Really? Of course, right into the junk. Huh. Whoa, don't do that. Way short. Wow, that was bad. Hopefully that was good. Oh, Josh. Oh. Oh, grip locked it. Oh, get it. Oh. There's a very good chance I could lose my disc on this shot, so, but last hole, let's get it done. Whew. Safe. Oh, Josh. Awful shot. So there you have the Discraft Undertaker at Turkey Hill Disc Golf Course in LaPlata, Maryland. As far as the disc goes, I really love the Undertaker. It's a great disc for beginners because you can trust it to fade out. For me, it's typically a straight 9 speed with a finish at the end. but it's a little more straighter than the Raptor. So for me, it's a great disc. I think beginners, it's a good disc to put in your bag. Even intermediates, I think you can find a good use for it. Even if you put it on a little Anheuser, it still likes to fight out. Except on a forehand. If you rip it on too much Annie on a forehand, it's just going to hold that line. So you do got to be careful on the forehand. But yeah, overall, a great disc. The course, it's a great course. Most of the holes have 2 tee pads, 2 baskets. There are some that share a tee pad, and there's one that shares a basket. But you know, it's definitely a good challenge for any skill level. You got water carries, which, I mean, for good players, it probably won't be a problem. But if you're, I mean, I throw 250 to 300, and it was definitely, I really had to make sure I got my angle right to get it across. So, navigation's pretty good. There's maybe 2 spots where it was a little tricky, but there's signs, a decent amount of signs. All the baskets have tape around the basket, which points you in the right direction. So you should be able to get around without U-disc. I mean, I didn't have to bring out U-disc once. It does play in a park, but you really don't interfere with the park all that much. So even if there are people using the park, you should be fine. There were some people playing the course, but not a lot, so it doesn't seem like it gets too crowded. The front 9 is definitely a lot flatter. And once you get into the back 9, back into the woods, you start to get some terrain, some hills. So carts on the front 9 and probably the last few holes are great, but there'll be some holes in between. So starting in, say, 10 to 14, carts are going to pose be a little bit of an issue for you. But all in all, it's a great course. It's right off 301. So if you're traveling north or south and you want to avoid DC, you can take 301, play around a disc golf at a great course, and then continue your travels. So definitely recommend the course. Come check it out. Until next time, off to the next course.